And we're live. Welcome,
Awesome.
ladies and gentlemen. This is the first video edition of the Fuller Fight Factor Live. But just for those of you who like to listen to the audio, I will upload this later tonight as an audio, so you can still get it on iTunes or Blog Talk Radio. But for now, you can check it out on the MMAcorner.com, Google Hangouts, and it streams to YouTube as well. But today, we are joined by IBJJF 2014 Heavyweight No Gi World Champion Rodrigo Artilheiro. Here he is. Say hi.
What's up, guys? What's going on? I'm here with Justin Fuller, so I'm excited to give this interview. Very excited. Just won the Worlds in California and the GGF No Gi Worlds, and then that's why I'm here for. It's all about.
Well, we got you here to talk about anything. It's just good timing that you just got home from the World. So tell us a little bit about everything that went on this weekend, how your matches went. Obviously, you won, but, who was your tougher opponents, how you thought this was going to play out. Just give us the whole story.
Well, I was training pretty hard for this tournament, so that's the Worlds No Gi, and I was training with my buddy Gabriel Gitober over here in Atlanta in X3 Sports, and I had tough matches. The first match, I fought a guy, Thiago Reinaldo. He's a guy from Amazonas in Brazil. So just to have an idea, the same coach as the Jack from the UFC coach. So all those guys from Amazonas, they're pretty strong. Those guys, they eat very well. They eat stuff that you never seen before, like like special fruits, like fresh protein and everything. They all solid, they are strong, and now that's one of the best schools by far in jiu-jitsu in Brazil. So it was a tough match, but I dominated the whole fight. And my takedown was very sharp, and I beat him by points. So in the final, I grapple. I fought against Bruno Bastos. Bruno is like a Brazilian, jiu-jitsu legend, and multiple times world champion. And it was a very tough match because in the beginning of the match, he tried a flying arm bar on me when I grabbed his neck. So, but I used to train with Vini Magalhães. I'm very used to defend those flying arm bars, and I could defend it very well. So I get on top, and I try to pass his half guard. His half guard is pretty strong, but I think I passed one time, and I got advantage when I took his back. When I went to his back, and when you went back to standing again, I did like a nice takedown, nice arm drag, and I think I got points for that. Oh man, I was so excited to beat Bruno Bastos. It's a great name in BJJ, and as well as that guy from Amazonas. And Bruno before fought me, so he beat Adam Wheeler as the bronze medalist for the United States in the Olympic Games in 2008. So that means the tournament itself was very, very strong. You know what I mean? So no joke, like a lot of strong and tough guys.
Yeah. Now, I know there's like several types of heavyweights in IBJJF. What was your actual division?
It's a ultra heavy. Ultra heavy.
Ultra heavy. Okay.
Ultra heavy.
Yeah, there's like heavyweight, super heavyweight, mega heavyweight. So.
Yeah, I'm walking around. I'm not right now. I'm like 240 pounds. So like 2 months ago when I beat Jeff Monson in the ADCC super fight, I was like the same weight, kind of same weight. You know what I mean? So I've been training. Like I said, after this match, I was training hard, and I've been training so hard. I'm ready. I'm feeling great in my life. At 35 years old, I'm so ready.
Yeah, and you are known, as more of a no-gi, a wrestling competitor. That's more your background, your accolades. But do you have plans to compete for the gi tournament for IBJJF as well, or is this pretty much it for them, and you're going to focus on other aspects?
Um, I wanna focus a lot on the no gi aspect because So I did a great job for ADCC United States. So I'm looking forward to compete in Abu Dhabi next year, in Brazil, in Manaus. So that's why I want to keep focused on no gi. But maybe I'm gonna jump in some gi tournaments because I like both. I'm a judo black belt myself as well as a jiu-jitsu, and I used to wrestle all over the world. So I pretty much do everything. But right now I'm very focused on the no gi. You know what I mean? So I've been training pretty hard here in Atlanta with Tony Tucci and Mike as well, the guys from X3. So my buddy Gabriel Gitober, training help Clint Haster. So we got a great team, a solid team over here. We pretty much do everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And for ADCC Worlds, do you already have a spot secured, or are you slated to compete in an upcoming trial somewhere?
I'm trying. I'm trying to get an invitation for the United States. You know, because I can't. I'm not allowed to do the trial. You know, I'm not American yet, citizen yet, so I can do the trial. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking about, and I really want to represent the United States. You know, I think this country did a lot of things to me, and now I feel myself like I need to do something for this country. You know, so I help a lot everyone here, like the fighters. You know, with my knowledge of the jiu-jitsu and all everything, but I want to grow for something huge like ADCC. It's like our Olympic Games for grappling, and I want to win. You know what I mean? I'm looking forward to go over that. I got the gold medal, you know,
Yeah.
for United States.
Yeah. And they did just have the trials down in Brazil recently, I believe. But you were obviously, you live up here. You were gearing up for IBJJF Worlds. So do you feel like that between your North American super fight with Monson as well as your victory here, that puts you in a good position to try and get an invitation?
Yeah, that's what I believe. That's what I've been praying for. You know what I mean? So, and I think Carlos and Jennifer, as well as the president Peter, they've been doing a great job so far. You know, with the federation in America. You know, and all of you guys have done a great job. And the super fight was great. You know, Jeff Monson, like I said, he's a legend. He's one of the best grapplers ever. As well as the title that got the worlds and then the IBJJF. And I fought guys like Bruno Bastos in the final. You know what I mean? So I hope I can get this invitation and represent the United States in the ADCC next year in my country, you know, my home, you know, in Brazil. You know, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. And are you working on, just out of curiosity, are you working on citizenship to get a U.S. passport, or is that just, is that something in the works, or is that something that you're not really worried about right now?
No, I have a green card, so I have to wait 2 more years to get an American citizenship. But like I said, right now I'm not going to be able to get it, you know. But that's why I'm focused on my training and focus on my tournaments. You know, like I said, I didn't mention like Grips as my sponsor, like John, and helped me out a lot with my training. And I'm like I said, I'm so ready, Justin. I'm so ready to go there and rock him, man, and
Yeah.
one man.
Yeah. And I know you were gunning for a fight with Roger Gracie. Has there been any talk from their side about that, or has it all just been lobbing over here and no response?
No, like Roger Gracie is a name that I always respect. You know, for me, he's the best grappler in jiu-jitsu guy ever. You know, everybody's knows that. So when I bit Jeff Monson, I got the mic and I said, man, I would love to grapple against to Roger Gracie in the same rules at ADCC. You know, if it's someone making it happen, I'm proud. I'd be so happy for that. You know, because
Yeah.
that's gonna be like a huge accomplishment in my life to be able to face a guy like Roger Gracie. And I know I have the skills to do a great job.
Yeah. And then just so everyone knows, like, this isn't like some MMA call out and there's a grudge match. The one thing I love about the grappling community is that guys can, like, be friends up until, during, and then right after the match, because it's just a whole different sport. I mean, a perfect example was when we were in New York, and that was Tom DeBlas had his super fight with Babalu. We were going over the rules, and Carlos is using the two of them to go over the rules with each other, and then everyone's just hanging out and having a good time. So it's the one thing I love of just the jiu-jitsu community and the grappling community as opposed to the fight community, just the camaraderie beyond amongst competitors. So when he says he wants to fight Roger Gracie, it's not anything like a grudge match. Like he said, it's just a good match. It'd be a good match. It'd be a good fight, right?
That's the way I was raised. And I'm from judo. I started doing judo since 5 years old, and I'm used to compete against my brothers. You know what I mean? So I see like my buddy Leo Leite, he just won the legacy belt. So he used to fight his brother. You know what I mean? In the judo match, like very hard judo matches. And we are used to fight each other. Grapple against each other like in the tournaments. Like I used to train like every single day, as well as Babalu. What was my teammate in Brazilian national Olympic team in wrestling. So we used to train together, we used to compete against each other. So it's very normal for us. You know what I mean? Once you get there, it's like a sport. You just compete. And afterwards, you grab a lunch, you grab a beer, wine, whatever. You know, no, that's gonna happen. No, that's gonna change. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Now, when you were out there in California, was there anyone that you saw competing, like either in your division or other divisions? I don't know how much time you had just to watch, but who was like you saw, like, oh man, like this guy, like no one knows who this guy is, but everyone's going to know who he is real soon, like the next up and coming star.
You know what? I was so focused on my division. And like I didn't even like pay attention to the matches, you know, but like the tournament itself was very, very strong. We have like a lot of super talent guys, you know, very strong guys, you know. Even that guy like called me attention a little bit because he came from like a wrestling background. So in 2008, he won the medal, like bronze medal for like United States Olympic Games, you know. So this is something huge. His name is Adam Wheeler, so he did a great job. So Bruno Bastos did a final with me. He beat him by points. You know, he might be gonna. He told me and Bible, like, man, I'm done with wrestling. You know, jiu-jitsu. Like, I found like great stuff right now. I'm doing jiu-jitsu. Probably, you know, in like maybe like a year or a couple of months, you're gonna like start, you know, making, you know, show up in the jiu-jitsu world. You know, since he has like a great, like a huge and strong background, you know, in Olympic wrestling. You know.
Yeah. And then, I don't know, did you talk to Babalu at all about his future? I know when I spoke to him a month ago in New York, he said, you know, he wants to compete for America. I think he said Masters Division for ADCC. He's looking to still compete on the mat all day long. So was there any specific events you were talking to him about and gearing him up for?
No, we just talked. I went to this gym and we had a dinner together. So he said, like, because I understand him, like he's a fight man. That guy has like a 50 MMA matches, you know. So he's used to have this adrenaline, you know what I mean? His emotion on his heart, and now he's done in MMA. It's kind of hard to deal with that, with the new life, you know. And I think jiu-jitsu has been helping a lot since he's been competing like he's at like in a master division, whatever division he is. Like he said, oh, now I have a focus, now I have something to train for. You know, like now I go to the gym with a target, and I believe the IBJJF, you know, in the ADCC as well, is saving people's lives. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people, like you see doctors, engineers, and all those people like never had something like a schedule for training and then go in the tournament and win a medal, or even if you don't win anything, you go to the tournament and do something well, you make something good for your life. You know, you make your life like, you know, make your life a better life, you know, because you wake up, you just don't go to just go to work and then come back to home and live like that life, you know. You go and now you have something, you know, further than that to reach. Like you have a tournament, you have the IBJJF tournament, you got an ADCC tournament to train for, to travel to, and then go over there and make something huge, make something happen. That's what I believe a lot of people right now, you know, has been changing. I think the jiu-jitsu itself, the ADCC, is changing people's life somehow, you know.
Oh, and you're exactly right. I think, you know, the same way people thought, like, you know, especially in this country, like, oh, you got to get your kids in karate, you know, so they can learn some discipline and when they're young. But then as they get older, they're like, you know, they'll like turn 15, they're like, man, I'm done with karate. But like, you get a kid in jiu-jitsu at 5 years old, he's going to keep doing it till he's 50. Like, because it's not only like do you get the discipline of like those traditional martial arts, but it's also like just a very practical skill to have. It's something that, you know, you can do with your friends in the living room. Just be like, oh, hey, look at this thing I tried real quick. And no one's getting, if you're safe, no one's getting hurt, you know, and if you're training with the right people, it's a good community to be around. Some of the best friends I have in the world I met through jiu-jitsu community. So that's one thing, like, I think, you know, it's just important for people to get out there, and what IBJJF and ADCC are doing to promote that, to promote the sport, I think is great.
Especially like you said something very, very important. Like when you're talking about kids, you know, I teach kids over here in an X Street gym in Atlanta. So, you know, the most important thing that I work with kids that I learn is that we call in Japanese the ukemi. You teach the kids the break falls. You know, you teach the kids how to fall, you know, safely without get hurt. You know what I mean? So when you teach when a kid like 5 years old kid learn how to fall without getting hurt, this is something huge. You know, you see a lot of professional fighters, they don't know how to fall correctly. You know, like when you fall, post your hand on the mat and break your arm. One time you saw like Mark Coleman in Japan and fall like Shogun. Shogun like
Yeah.
take down and pull his hand on the mat and it broke his arm. You know, this is something like very important. You know, and I believe with jiu-jitsu, ADCC, whatever there is, there's has something, you know, very, very important in the people's life, in kids' life. You know, we talk about kids, all children. You know, it's something like very positive for the kids' life, for everyone's life. You know.
Yeah, and I think that one thing jiu-jitsu does that even other combat sports don't necessarily do, just because of the way you train and the intensity. You know, it's the one sport you can do that you can, when you train, you can really go 100% with less risk of injury compared to other contact sports.
Yep.
But it tells you what you know exactly what you're capable of. You have no misconception about what you're capable of as a human being, as a fighter, but you also know what other people out there are capable of. So I think just it gives you not only a new confidence, but just a new respect when you interact with people, because there's no myth in your head about what you can do and what anyone could do to you, because how many times do you have to get tapped out till you start tapping other people out, right?
Yep, I truly agree with you. I truly agree with you because that's the positive side of the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you know, and in people life, you know what I mean, in the society. When Jigoro Kano, he created judo in Japan. So when I was in Japan last year, I saw one of you know, the most important things that he wrote on the wall in the Kodokan, you know, the main place, the judo place. He said something like the meaning, the importance to practice, to you know, to make people do judo. You know what I mean? To train people train judo. Besides being a champion, besides being Olympian or become like a world champion, you're gonna become a better person to help the society in Japan. You know what I mean? Because you can be Olympic champion, you can be a world champion, but besides all those things is important. Even if you don't become a champion, you're gonna help the society. You know what I mean? With the values and respect each other, especially like respect people. Like because when you roll, you become humble. Someone submit because we're talking about you know, submission. And someone submits you, you know, make you tap, make you you know what I mean. That's a very important thing. You know, when you become a humble person, you respect more. You know. You know the older people, you respect your brothers, you know, your family, your friends, you know. I think the society itself become better once you have the respect, you know what I'm saying, like something like that, you know.
Yeah. And you talk about it changing people's lives, and we talked about kids, but like I can say, like even for me, you know, I was in the military for 10 years, deployed several times, and while there's all these resources to kind of just deal with readjusting to civilian life and managing the things you did in your past through the VA or communities, the number one tool I have at my disposal that helps better than anything else
Gotcha.
is jujitsu. Like we talk like Carlos, you know, like he has this way of just having me be like feel like I am ready to pass out, completely exhausted on the floor on my back at the end of practice, and he likes to just grind my ear out real good, you know. But at the same time, he knows, he's like, yeah, how good do you feel now? And I'm like, I feel great. Like I am completely exhausted, but like my mind and body are so sound, and like there's no other tool out there to help me manage better than that. So even for veterans and adults who have stress in their life, the way you can just completely exhaust yourself mentally, emotionally, and physically, and that is just amazing. And then you can get up and go and have a beer, like you said, with the guy, or sleep well.
Yeah, like I said, like that's a life situation, you know. That's a life situation. You find yourself in a hard situation and under pressure, you know, and then you're used to that because, like I said, in the gym, on a tournament, wherever there is, you know, you're used to being under pressure, and someone on top of you, someone like holding side control with a mountain, or even like choke you while you're about to tap. You know, it's the same. It's the same in life, and you start getting used to be comfortable in those situations, you know, and then you become a better person, a better, you know, you make your life better. You know, everything becomes better. You know, like that's why I believe jujitsu it's very important. It's all those things very positive for everyone in people's life. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
true. That's very true.
Yeah. And then real quick, I didn't know if you heard about the controversy surrounding the Tom DeBlas Compredo match or not, or if you're familiar with that at all.
I heard a little bit. I saw something on Facebook, and I saw some, but I didn't watch the fight. But I saw some pictures, and I maybe completed like I think got a, it wasn't a half guard or something, and then Ton like pushed his face away, something like that. But I cannot tell too much because I didn't watch the fight. You just saw some comments and stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought maybe if you saw it there, if you saw it on Facebook. If not, then I'm not gonna try and get you to say anything about it. If you didn't see it, I'll send you the link later, and then you can tell me what
Okay.
you think.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
Those things happen. Those things happen.
yeah.
Like
Well,
so
it's funny because both those guys were ADCC North American Federation super fight competitors. Tom, who faced Babalu in New York and won his match, and Comprito had a match in Chicago that he lost to Picana. So I think that was just interesting. Like, it's like two guys that both have a link to ADCC North America for this year, and then you have a link to that as well.
yeah, that's true. Those compete in the ACC, the super fight, the one I did against Jeff Mont, they're the same. I know Tone, and I met Tone. He's a nice guy. He's a great competitor as well as Comprito. Yeah, that's true. They compete on the super fight. That's why I said the ACC is doing a great job. Putting all those guys, in the game, doing like super match. I'm so happy about that. I'm so happy about that.
Yeah. And, just to switch gears here a little bit, you were, for people that don't know, they should, you were a coach on Tough Brazil for Vitor Belfort. You've trained with, like you said, Vinny Magalhães, Leo Machida, Nogueira, Assunção, all these guys, right? So,
Yep.
kind of what's your take on some of these big matches coming up here? Well, let's start off with this. Did you watch the Assunção Caraway fight this
Yeah.
last weekend? And what'd you think of that?
Yeah, I think Rafael is the next is going to be the next UFC World Champion. Because that guy is he's a very hard worker. He's a very humble guy, and he's a great fighter as well. So we all train together over here in Atlanta. I used to coach more of those guys. Not right now. I'm very focused on my gym, the X3 gym. But sometimes once in a while, I go over there and I train those guys. And I see Rafael has a great team. Manu, the French guy. There's a Jucão, all those, the Lima brothers. Atlanta has a lot of great fighters over here, and great coaches as well. Brian Stan, his brother Junior, and then I think, my opinion, Rafael going to be the next world champion. So he did a great job, and that match going to be great for him.
Yeah.
He did great wrestling, great jiu-jitsu, great striking. He has a big heart, and he's a great fighter, man.
Yeah. Now he does have a win over the champ, but they did announce that Cruz will get a chance to fight him, which makes sense. Who do you think that they might match him up with in the meantime, just to maintain that number one contender status? Because as we know, like, you can be the number one contender, but if 12 months go by, it's better to take a fight than to not take a fight, right?
It's up to the UFC to decide that. I don't know, maybe Barão, maybe Renan Barão, I don't know. Yeah, but I believe whoever they put Rafael to face, Rafael gonna beat those guys. But I believe he's gonna be the next champion.
So, like, let's say it was, how would you think he'd match up against Barão or Faber? Those would pretty much be the only two options for a guy in his position.
Those are going to be a tough matches. Barão and Faber, those are great fighters. Faber is a very, very fast, very strong fighter. He's good in everything, as well as Barão. Those guys came from like a very strong school. Faber, my buddy Fabio, he's training in the jiu-jitsu, and André Pederneiras is one other friend of mine. He's a Barão's coach. So those are going to be like a tough matches. But I truly believe in Rafael can beat those guys.
Yeah. And with the Caraway match, Caraway was talking a big game about his grappling going into that. But it seemed like there was some opportunities Rafael had when he was stuffing the takedown where he kind of had a little bit of head and arm control, but then he'd break away. Was that because he just wanted to win it on the feet, or was that him respecting Caraway's ground game and not wanting to waste too much time or energy going for something that he thought he didn't need to go for to win the fight?
I believe that was part of his strategy, because I spoke with his coach, one of his coaches, Manu. He's 8 times Muay Thai world champion, and so he was talking to me about the strategy, like keep the fight on his feet, and because Rafael, I think it's better than him on his feet, but even if the fight goes to the ground, like Rafael, could submit him because Rafael is a solid jiu-jitsu game, and but I believe it was part of his strategy, I truly believe in that.
Yeah. And then Lyoto has a match coming up against CB Dalloway. Pretty sure that's like a main event in Brazil. How do you think that matches up, and how do you see that one playing out?
That's going to be a great match, but I believe Lyoto can win, So Lyoto is very fast. It's a very hard game. Like, he moves all the time, uses karate skills, He a lot of people doesn't know, like, Lyoto is a silver national champion back in Brazil. So when I used to train with him, like, back in 2005, man, I was like, this guy's not just a karate guy, And I had a hard time to take him down, to do stuff on the ground, and I found out, man, this guy, like, no wrestling, he knows jiu-jitsu, he knows karate, he knows Muay Thai, he knows everything. But CB Dalloway is a very, very dangerous opponent. Is a very strong and dangerous fighter. He's a great wrestler, as well as he has like a solid jiu-jitsu and ground game, and he can strike as well because he knocked him out with Caesar. Caesar fought him and then put Caesar in the best situation on the striking field. I believe it's gonna be like that fight gonna be a war, but I believe Lyoto can win the fight.
Yeah, and then as far as matchups go, I just got to ask for the last one. I know Chris Weidman hurt his hand. That fight got moved to next year, but he's going to be defending against your friend Vitor. And what do you think the best game? How is Vitor going to deal with what Weidman brings to the table, and what do you think his strengths are going into this match?
I believe Vitor has a great chance to win. People are talking a lot about TRT, but I think that that doesn't make any sense, because what happened is, if a TRT or whatever you take, I don't know, you cannot tell that they're gonna make you win no matter what. Because a lot of people use those stuffs, and sometimes they lose. You know what I'm saying? That's why,
just as many people lose as win on it, is what you're saying?
Yeah. A lot of people like use the TRT or whatever they're using, and then they lose matches, So it's kind of like, I believe Vitor, man, with or without TRT, is a dangerous and is a great fighter.
Yeah.
He's been training pretty hard over at Black Celians, My buddy Durinho. So another guy who fought the ADCC, not the super fight champion, is a great coach, as well as a great jiu-jitsu and MMA fighter. So Vitor has a great camp around him. So besides, Vitor is a super talented fighter. So he's been training with a Cuban coach, one of the best boxer coach ever, Pedro. His name is Pedro. And Durinho, and all those guys from Black Senior. So I think Vitor is ready for anybody, especially for Chris Weidman. I believe Vitor can win the fight.
Yeah, the one thing I see him having the advantage of is just that instinct, and he used to have just this very go forward, but he's kind of found a way to not contain that, but to isolate that ferocity he has and that speed and use it more tactically to come at you and hurt you hard, but not leave himself as open. And I think that's one of his big advantages. But if Weidman's able to get the takedown and control from there, I think a lot of people that they didn't realize, and if before they probably learned in the Jones fight, was he's great off his back. He just normally never has to fight there.
Yeah. Vitor is a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Like I said, Durinho.
Carlson Gracie black belt.
Yeah, it's a Carson Gracie black belt. I know, and Durinho has been helping Vitor a lot in his ground game. And Vitor always had this fabulous arm bar in his back for the right side.
Yeah.
And, so like you said, Vitor is a great fighter in all those fields.
I just always have to point out when people are Carlson Gracie black belts. That's all.
Yeah, Carson, that's the man, and that's the guy. Carson is a great man. Was a great master. I had a chance and opportunity. Just being a couple of years training with Carson. Calling my home. He was a big friend of my dad. Miss him a lot. So he's a great guy. He's a great coach. He's one of the best. He's the best. Carson Gracie, man.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up Durinho. Like we said, also an ADCC super fight winner. He fought in the South Florida ADCC North American tournament. But you know, he's in the UFC now. It's great. You know, I mean, he didn't continue his streak of finishing everyone in the first round, but he had a really good performance in his debut, and I'm pretty sure he's got a fight lined up here real soon as well. Even though, you know, he's not the youngest guy, I think he's one of those guys that a lot of people should keep their eye on and is going to make big waves in that division. How do you see his career going, or who do you think would be some good matchups for him?
Man, I see this guy, you know, getting close to the title shot, and has a great chance to be the next UFC World Champion, because Doreen has a super talent, you know, and in everything, you know what I mean. When I was in Vegas, you know, Doreen came over, so I was training with Victor, all those guys, you know. Doreen like did his first amateur fight, you know, he won, and then you know what, I'm gonna do MMA from now on, and then now he's in the UFC. He's a Jiu-Jitsu World Champion, you know, he's great wrestling, so he's sneaking. Like a backpack, you know, like a kid's backpack, you know, because when he got on his back, he doesn't think you're gonna stay there.
Yeah.
There for a while, no matter what, he might be gonna choke you out. So Rhea is a very explosive fighter, you know, he had a big heart, you know, good mind for MMA, and good hands, you know, so super talent. He's a big friend of mine, and I believe he can be the next champion.
Yeah, and just so people know, Dorino is Gilbert Burns. That's his real name. We all know him by Dorino. Just so you know who we're talking about. He's had one fight in the UFC already, and he's 8-0 with 7 first-round finishes coming into before the UFC. And he's going to be fighting October 25th on the prelims of UFC 179. And if you don't have cable, if you don't have a pay-per-view, that's okay, because his fight will be the featured bout on Fight Pass, so everyone around the world can watch that fight. And that'll be a lightweight fight, because his last fight was a welterweight bout that he took last minute. So he's going to be real dangerous at lightweight. And even though he's facing a promotional newcomer, I expect to see him shine real well.
Yep. So he fought a guy like a bigger guy in another division. He did great, but I believe his real division is going to be the next one he's going to fight. You know what I mean? Like, I think it was 155, right?
Yep.
55. So, you know, it's going to be hard for the guy that's a bit Doreen, you know, to face Doreen in that division. It's so fast, it's so talented, so jiu-jitsu is like, he's a monster on the ground, you know, he's getting better on his feet, his wrestling getting better as well, so it's going to be hard to beat him.
Yeah, exactly. Now, before we wrap it up here soon, because, you know, you're a busy guy, you know, but this has been fun. Is there anyone, you know, at your gym down there that you're working out with that you kind of want to highlight that maybe people aren't familiar with yet, but either MMA or BJJ, that they should, you know, keep their eye out, and maybe, hey, we'll talk to next time, right?
Yeah, like I've been working with Clint Haster, me, Tony Tucci, Mike, all those guys from X3. So I've been working with Clint Haster, so he's been doing great at MMA. So I was working when he fought Braganato in MMA. Everybody said he was going to lose, and he beat Braganato, was the Jiu-Jitsu World Champion. And now he's going to have another fight in Australia. And my students as well, the girls that I have in class, so all those girls, they're doing great. Ava, Macy, all those girls, they have a great future in Jiu-Jitsu. Nikki, Banu, you know what I mean? My students, they're gonna have a great future in Jiu-Jitsu. And Gabriel Kitover, my buddy, so he's a grappling world champion, Jiu-Jitsu world champion. So there's another guy, an up-and-coming guy in Jiu-Jitsu and MMA world as well. You know what I mean? And myself, you know, I wanna be I'm gonna be the ADCC world champion.
That's right.
Gold medal, you know, for the United States, like I said, you know.
Yeah. And you know, like I said, I guess just keep hitting those guys up. Figure out who you got to talk to, right? To get that invite. You know, I'm sure there's always a way, right? And we still got some time anyway. I think they're looking at doing trials early next year. So I think the best bet would be to try and get you on a super fight at the trials.
That would be a great idea, man. That sounds good. You just made my day.
Yeah.
You know, I need to talk to Carlos, Jennifer, Peter, you know, those guys. They got me a super fight, I guess another big name. Yeah. How about that?
Yeah, now I know I know they had some plans for East Coast, and then but there's been some changes, so I'm not even in the loop about what's going to happen or when. But of course, once it's official, I'll put it out there, and then I'll hit you up, and we'll figure something out. If they can't do it on the East Coast, we'll try and do it here on the West Coast, because I know the original plan was to hopefully have an East Coast and a West Coast trials, because all the guys out here in California, right?
Wherever they're gonna go for it, man. That'll be cool. That'll be awesome.
Yeah. All right. Just go ahead, mention your sponsors, any seminars you got going on, where people can find you, social media, whatever you got. The mic is yours.
Yeah, guys, the Grips is the best, MMA brand. And right now, it's helping me a lot. Thanks, John, for the support. X3 Sports, we have here in Atlanta. So not a great gym, the best gym here in the South area, and one of the best in the USA. Mike, Tony Tucci, all those guys are great. And if you want to find me, follow me on Instagram, Artilheiro MMA, and my Facebook. That's all.
No seminars, traveling plans.
I'm probably gonna do some seminars around in I think in Oklahoma. There's next seminar gonna be Oklahoma next month. And in the Connecticut as well. If you want to get a seminar, can call my number, my number, 702-205-0834.
just man, you can't be putting that out there on the internet like that, man. You're gonna get some psychos calling you up, man. You just gotta be like, look, hit me up on Facebook, all right? That way you can kind of control it.
Talk to people in the gym.
Just giving me like that. That's the same. I'm not even gonna say what it is. Just that's a fake number. Just hit them up on Facebook, call X3 Gym, and then figure it out. If they really want to do a seminar, it won't be hard to get a hold of you, but we don't need a bunch of crazy people calling.
No problem.
I'm going to teach you about how to use this, all right? This is like 800,000 people in China right now. Let me try and dial this up. Let's see here. All right, let me call them up.
Oh, my gosh.
All right, well, hey, don't log off yet. We'll chat real hit, but we're going to go ahead and stop the broadcast. I want to thank, once again, Rodrigo Artilheiro for taking the time to talk to us down there in Atlanta. Like he said, hit him up, Twitter, Facebook. He's at X3 Gym.
Oh, my website.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Artilheiro MMA, Rodrigo, ArtilheiroMMA.com.
I think it's just Artilheiro MMA.
ArtilheiroMMA.com.
That's ArtiheiroMMA.com. If you just Google Rodrigo Artilheiro, you'll see it right there. He's not hard to find. But again,
it's a hard name to say. It's a hard name to say.
Yeah, I know. I've learned how to do it. It took a little while, but when I'm calling out fighters for those matches, I want to get it right. I mean, you tell me who's ever called you out before a grappling match better than this guy right here? Okay, just tell me. Let the world know.
That's true. Thank you, Jess. Cool, man.
All right, well, everyone, thanks for tuning in. If you watched this live, great. If not, you can check this out later. And then later tonight, I will have this on iTunes, so you can just download the audio and listen to it when you're driving if you want, or if it's your computer. Go ahead and watch the video. You can see our pretty faces talk Jiu-Jitsu, MMA, Worlds, and we will ideally have him back on again because this was a great episode, and this was the first video one, which I had a lot of fun with, and hopefully you had fun with too, and I know Rodrigo had fun. So until next time, thanks for tuning in, fight fans.
Sounds good to me. Thanks, guys. Have a blessed day. Sounds good.